Hello, everybody.
Howdy! Bet you didn't think you'd be seeing us so soon.
Back again.
Yes. This time we have proof. Proof positive that the Jehovah's Witnesses have completely diminished themselves. And the reason why we can say this is because this actually involves a convention center that Kim and I used to go to in Tucson, Arizona. And I just wish somebody like my mother could sit in the audience right now and think, where in the hell did everybody go? But she
knows her family left.
Exactly. What we have here is a news clip from a Tucson TV news station. And we're going to show the audience, but more importantly, we're also going to show how the Jehovah's Witnesses are still completely gaslighting the entire world.
You mean like that article that I went through yesterday about online presence or your online popularity? Watchtower. Do you use deception to deceive the journalists and the media and how popular you are? In one of the news clips I watched from another state, in fact it was El Paso, they mentioned Jehovah's Witnesses was one of the largest convention organizations in the world. What about the Mormons, the Baptists, all of those?
Well, that's why Jehovah's Witnesses don't understand when they're being gaslighted, because when they say one of the largest, no, you are one of many, not the largest. But we all know that Jehovah's Witnesses will hear that and say, see, we're the fastest growing religion on earth.
Well, I was just going to say, that's what they still say, we're the fastest growing religion on the earth. No, you're not. Google it.
They have a severe acuity problem. They hear what they want to hear. They see what they want to see. And that's why you and I are here to clarify this gaslighting.
Yeah. Now, before we show the clip from this news report, I wanted to cover a few things. Now, since we know Tucson, that is where we went to the conventions. One of the last conventions, in fact, the last convention we went to when we moved away from Arizona was in 1999 at the Tucson Convention Center. That was the last convention in Arizona we went to. Now, what I did is I went to the Bond volumes. Now, in the February 15th Watchtower, they used to have a list of all the conventions. Okay? Now, what I did is I went through this. And in 1999, there was going to be 3 English and 2 Spanish at the Tucson Convention Center. Okay? And like I said, since we know this, and I want to thank Dennis for sending us the link to this convention, because it's like, oh my God. When we went to the conventions, we would have to set up in nosebleeds because everybody was saving seats, you know, like decks of cards taped to the seat.
Well, there was even one occasion when you and we got there early because, you know, I was an attendant and I needed one of those little, you know, most comfortable seats available. And we got there early, got down to where my section was, and lo and behold, some Jehovah's left their lapel tag pinned to the seat. They literally left their lapel card pinned to that seat. So when I, being the attendant, you know, and being the duly trained attendant that I was at the time, I removed those lapel pins and I put my books there. And oh my goodness, you should have seen this couple have a fit when they recognized that somebody was in their seat saved from the previous day. Now, how obedient were Jehovah's Witnesses back then when they were told, don't save seats, but yet here they were?
Yeah.
But that shows how large the crowds were at that time at the Tucson Convention Center, because I was in attendance for many years.
Yeah. Well, like I said, we would have to sit in the nosebleed, and it would be packed, okay? Now, we're going to show, after I show this clip, we're going to go slow-mo at one point, but let's just show the clip in its entirety.
Well, you might notice more people in downtown. Well, you might notice more people in downtown this weekend.
The Jehovah's Witnesses are returning for their annual convention at Tucson Convention Center. The three-day event starts today and is the conference's first time back in Tucson since 2019. Now, since the pandemic, the conference had been limited to virtual events. Like many things, this year has a fitting theme of exercise, patience, and exercising that patience.
Our patience is challenged at times, whether it's driving, at work, or school. Our patience is challenged, and it affects our quality of life, because when there's a lack of patience, our stress level goes up.
Now, Gary says he's looking forward to lessons in developing patience so he can improve his relationships and quality of life.
So did you guys all catch the gaslighting? Because that Jehovah Witness talking in front of the news camera is gaslighting, because he's trying to make John Q. public who watch this believe that Jehovah's Witnesses are being taught to be patient in their driving, in their everyday concept of life. In other words, we're going to teach you to be good citizens, Batman. But see, the thing is, all of us know that their Be Patient convention is strictly based on the fact that Armageddon hasn't arrived yet. You know, these are the last of the final part of the last days. So be patient while we, collectively get together as a governing body and figure out how we can continue to gaslight you.
Yeah. Now, I went to jw.org to see how many conventions are going to be at the Tucson Convention Center. Now, the ones that are already passed, they are not listed. But I know of at least one that was back in June. And under English, there's only 2 more. So that means we know of at least 3 English conventions. And remember, that's what I said was back in 1999. So where's the growth?
Well, not only that, why are you not combining those 3 into 1 and filling the stadium to make it look like you're growing? But no, you can't do that.
Yeah, and there's going to be at least 4 Spanish conventions. There may have been one back in June. Now, what I want to do is I want to show slow-mo here of when they were showing the convention that was going on in the present. We could not believe how empty these seats were. Oh my God. I mean, I'm looking even at the lower level where the elderly and handicapped sit. And there's this huge area at the back of the last row. That was not there when we used to go. They used to just have a walkway behind it and a walkway like in the middle. And I mean, all of the nosebleeds are empty. Now also, what I want to do is I want to show, this is an old screenshot of Tucson, and I don't have a year that this photo was taken, but I know that it was pre-2013 because the Canadian flag is missing.
Right.
And it still has the iron bars on the back wall.
Yeah, because they did do some remodeling over the years to the Tucson Convention Center.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, this is Tucson in 2016. And this is taken on the side, looking at the other side. So they're like on the lower level in the walkway, taking a photo of the lower level and the entire side. You can see how packed it was. clear up into the nosebleed.
So when you looked at these two this one in the previous photograph, you can understand why Watchtower would possibly need 3 separate conventions because of the amount of Jehovah's Witnesses in Arizona. But when you looked at the news clip earlier, why do they need 3? They're empty. Proof of how much the Watchtower Bible Crap Society has diminished.
Now, many may say, oh, well, this was before it started, or, afterwards when there wasn't that many in their seats. The session is going on, and they're showing the seat section. Look how empty it is.
Because you see the speaker on stage.
See, the speaker was on stage, and it was during the session. And look how empty the seats were. I sent this clip to my daughter, and she was like, holy crap. She says, when I was a kid and we were going there, it would be packed. There would be 12 to 15,000 people.
Well, remember, don't they still call these regional conventions?
Yeah.
If this is the word they're still using, regional conventions, then as far as the region goes in that district of Arizona, that region of Arizona, they're gone. They're done. Keep up the good work, because what we're doing is having an effect to the lies and the damage that this organization does to people.
Yeah, because we lived in central Arizona. First I grew up in Prescott, and then we were in Cottonwood. So that was part of the region to be sent to Tucson. And for several years, we had gone to Phoenix, but then they changed it because the convention center is cheaper in Tucson. Now I gotta ask, they spent how many millions of dollars on the Casa Grande Assembly Hall? Why didn't they use that and save the rental money on these large stadiums? If they only had this few of people, why didn't they just use that assembly hall?
Because religion is a snare and a racket.
Apparently. Now, I did have an email this morning from a PMO, and they mentioned, because we covered the Pennsylvania charges against the Jehovah's Witness men yesterday. Well, this PMO says that a lot of Jehovah's Witnesses, and they've talked to many, they do not want to go out in field service, and they don't want to be doing cart witnessing now in Pennsylvania at all, because they are getting accosted, they are getting attacked, they are getting bashed. It's all over the news. And these non-JWs, as soon as they see Jehovah's Witnesses, or, hey, I just heard about your, pervo problem in your organization. So the Jehovah's Witnesses, and especially the PMOs, do not want to go out in service. They have a lot of anxiety, and a lot of the PMOs saying they're just lying on their time and just making it look like they're going out in service. They are not actually going out and talking to people.
Talk about the shepherd throwing the sheep to the wolves. This is how stupid Jehovah's Witnesses, your governing body, are. If they had an ounce of brain between all 8 of them, or 7, however many, I really don't care. If they had an ounce of brain, they would recognize what they're doing to you people. They're literally throwing you to the wolves. This is what the fine shepherd does. Sends you out to the slaughter.
Exactly. So, I almost feel sorry for the Jehovah's Witnesses. And,
well,
it is what it is.
Here again, research today is just as simple as destroying the fear. False evidence appearing real. Our entire human structure, from day one to right now, has been built upon fear.
Well, I'm reading a book by Dolores Cannon, The 3 Waves of Volunteers. And I just read you the last sentence of
I know.
the chapter. It says, fear is an illusion.
It's an illusion.
Do not be afraid.
Jehovah's Witnesses.
Yeah, very good book, by the way.
It's an illusion.
Yeah.
And you can destroy that illusion by clicking on any ex-Jehovah's Witness video showing exactly who and what Jehovah's Witnesses are. The entire organization is built upon a fear control mechanism. And you know what that is? Doomsday.
See, and many of us are doing videos like this, not only to show the decline, but many of us for years have been showing, you know, how basically cutting off the food supply because we want to help people not to get involved with this evil organization. Basically, don't give in and fall into the cult like we did because it ruined our lives. That has basically what many of us have been saying for years.
Well, you know, I put this in a video in the past. How is it that Jehovah's Witnesses have become experts at gaslighting, deflecting, using a straw man argumentation, and even a red herring? Because by far and large, in my opinion, the reasoning book did that. You see, look, we're not the only ones that says this. You can go to the world news encyclopedia, whatever encyclopedia that they're quoting from. That's gaslighting. That's how they become masters at it. But see, the thing is when they put that reasoning book in all of our hands, they never explain to you that when you go from door to door and you use this book, this is called gaslighting. But you don't ever want to use that terminology because then it's too simple for the uninformed householder to understand they're being gaslit or, you know, being approached from a straw man argument. Just because the World Book Encyclopedia says it doesn't mean Jehovah's Witnesses have the truth. It means you're being gaslit, but you just don't recognize it. And that's why Jehovah's Witnesses have had this growth, because they don't understand the finer points of argumentation.
Yeah. Now what I'm going to do is I am going to put the link down below to the Public Information Department's manual. And you guys really need to look at this to see what these PR guys, what their guidelines are, what their instructions are when talking to the media, governments, and all of these organizations. Because if you look under conventions, it said when you are talking and giving an interview, make the statements to how it would apply to non-JWs. See, what benefit is this? And that's exactly what you seen in the clip that Mike brought out.
Gaslighting.
Is how this would benefit the world, the general public. And we all know that is propaganda manure of the
101.
highest degree.
Yeah.
Because we know these conventions do not help the general public.
No, they don't.
Their Bible principles they use are not going to help the general public. But see, that's what they're told to say in these interviews with these journalists, the news media.
Yeah.
So turn on the camera and lie through your teeth. I mean, it's just ridiculous. And I know.
I think it's time to go back to sleep. When you're this awake and when you understand the entire concept, you can see it no matter who tries to make you choke on it.
Yeah, because there's so many different parts of society. And we know, because like Mike mentions before, our daughter was a sociology major, and she learned about all these different aspects of society. Well, the word culture, our culture, guess what the root word is? Cult.
A cult within a cult within a cult within a cult throughout the entire existence of humanity.
Yeah, And when you start learning about this, I still have her textbooks that she says you really need to hang on to this so you can research some of this because it might help your videos. And it has, because when you start reading this, then you can see the different cults everywhere.
Yeah. And if you don't take the time to understand what gaslighting is, what a straw man argument is, what a red herring is, how people deflect, you should absolutely spend several months learning that and understanding it so that when you're being gaslit, you can reverse that narrative and stop that gaslighting. Because it's really not hard to shut a gaslighter down.
Yeah, especially when you recognize it right off.
Yeah.
They usually start with defending themselves.
That's exactly how they start, just like this right here.
Yeah.
This PR guy does not want John Q. Public to understand the real significance of this convention, because Jehovah's Witnesses said that the generation of 1914 will not pass away, blah, 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 they're dead and gone. Let said during that, pandemic, these are the last of the final part, if not the last. They don't want John Q. Public to understand. This is why they're being told to be patient, because everything that comes out of the mouth of these governing idiots failed. And that's why they're still trying to cram being patient down the throats of Jehovah's Witnesses. But guess what? The photograph shows Watchtower. That in itself is an epic failure.
Well, I'm hearing from PMOs how their elders and circuit overseers, the circuit overseers are really pushing all of them to forget the Zoom meetings and go back to in-person meetings. Well, it is obvious to us in looking at these news reports about the conventions that they're not even going back to the conventions.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just,
so it isn't just the meetings, it's conventions too.
Right. And just like any other pyramid scheme, when you have a product, you need to have those people sitting in the audience so that they're not distracted of maybe what's going on around in their own home. So they want you at that building so that they can encapsulate your mind without any other distractions. Look, go into a Kingdom Hall and there's no windows because they don't want you being distracted of what might be going on the other side of the window. It's not this difficult.
Well, I just thought of something. And knowing human behavior and patterns, and also knowing how being in a crowd stirs up that emotion. The music, the yelling, baseball games, I mean, they're exciting. You're in the crowd in the excitement. Being at conventions, oh, it's so moving. They have those experiences. And then, you see the sister next to you just crying over this. See, it stirs up the emotions. And that is part of the indoctrination mechanism.
Well, I think you'll agree with this. We've gone to baseball games in Phoenix. Concerts. But in particular, sporting events. They always have a Jumbotron, typically out of view of the camera, and at that critical moment, they project the words, make some noise, clap, and the audience does it. Even in an audience at some TV program that they're trying to project at the audience is well in line with what the host is saying, or maybe a panel of women is saying. They've always got that little neon sign that says make some noise, clap, and like trained seals, that's why they want Jehovah's Witnesses back in the Kingdom Hall, so that they can train the seals.
Well, going back to a baseball game, when the crowd gets quiet and they're kind of lulling to sleep or eating, and it's real quiet except for the game going on, and it's kind of boring part of the game. Well, then they have that organ that will start playing these theme songs that we all know, dun 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 dun.
Yeah.
Look at Watchtower. They have the music before the convention start, during the break, and I mean, it's all part of the plan.
Yeah. I mean, I like watching WWE wrestling because for me, that's my escape from reality. And there's a lot of content creators that capture things like from the WWE. And one time, one of their big stars, John Cena, was having, you know, a go at one of the other stars. And John Cena came out and made some comment like, well, unlike you, I don't have to have crowd music piped into my talks. So see, that whole facade is being completely broken down at how manipulated people can be and how easy it is to do it. Because when you're in an audience and they're piping in, you know, fake crowd noise, well, guess what? The real crowd's going to make noise, just like the sign that says, make some noise. Training the seals.
Yep. Or monkeys.
Or
however you wanna
monkeys.
look at it.
Yeah. Yep, exactly.
So thank you everybody for watching, and this is good news because when you start go on YouTube and just put in 2023 Jehovah Witness Convention, and tons of news reports come up that are very similar from all over, and you just look at the audience. Just look at the audience. The stadiums are empty.
Yeah, and also listen to the gaslighting that these, you know, these men are doing and saying when they get in front of the news camera. They're gaslighting the entire world. Now, if you have to gaslight people, Jehovah's Witnesses, then what truth do you have?
Yeah. Yeah. So we love you. You all have a wonderful week.
Bye.
Bye.